What if discipline wasn't just a habit, but a weapon? What if your mind could be trained like a warrior, sharp, calm, and unshakable, even in chaos? Welcome to the Mental Gym, your daily training ground for clarity, control, and unbreakable mindset. In today's episode, we dive deep into the ancient philosophy of the Stoics, warriors of the mind, to extract 8 powerful habits that build the mental discipline of emperors, soldiers, and modern thinkers. If you've ever struggled with procrastination, emotional control, or staying consistent, this is your episode. Let's begin your training. Habit 1. Wake up with purpose. The Stoics believed each day is a battle, and you are the commander. Marcus Aurelius began every morning reminding himself of his duty, his mortality, and his mission. Most people wake up reactive, checking their phones, drifting into distraction. But the disciplined mind wakes up with intent. Before anything else, ask yourself, what is my mission today? Not your to-do list, your mission. The deeper reason behind the actions. Train your first thought of the day to be one of direction, not confusion. This tiny shift will anchor your mind in purpose before the world pulls you in all directions. Habit 2. Delay reactions. The disciplined mind does not react. It responds. Epictetus taught that we cannot control what happens, but we can always control how we choose to respond. This is a core principle of Stoicism and a sign of mental strength. When something triggers you, an insult, a setback, a delay, pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? By delaying your reaction, you take back your power. That brief space between stimulus and response, that's where discipline is forged. And that's where you stop being ruled by emotions and start becoming a master of them. Habit 3. Do one hard thing. Daily discipline is like a muscle. It grows through resistance. The Stoics believed in voluntary hardship, doing difficult things on purpose to strengthen the mind. So here's the rule: do one hard thing every single day. It could be waking up early, taking a cold shower, saying no when it's uncomfortable, or working when you don't feel like it. You're not just building habits, you're building identity. You stop seeing discomfort as something to avoid and start seeing it as a signal that you're on the right path. The modern world trains us to seek comfort, but warriors of the mind? They train in discomfort. Habit 4. Master your inner voice. The most important conversations you'll ever have are the ones you have with yourself. The Stoics were obsessed with self-awareness. They trained their minds to observe thoughts without attachment, to challenge weakness, to speak to themselves with reason, not emotion. So ask yourself daily, is this thought helping me or hurting me? Because when your mind says, I can't, discipline whispers, try. When your fear says, what if I fail? Discipline says, then you learn. The inner voice becomes your internal coach, not your critic. Control your thoughts and you control your future. Habit 5. Practice voluntary stillness. In a world addicted to noise, movement, and urgency, stillness is rebellion. The Stoics practiced stillness not by escaping the world, but by mastering their presence within it. They wrote, they reflected, they sat in silence. Because stillness sharpens the mind. Even just 5 minutes a day of silence, no phone, no music, no distraction, can realign your thoughts, calm your nervous system, and remind you that you control your state. Stillness is not weakness. It's discipline in its purest form. The world moves fast. You don't have to. Train your stillness and watch your clarity multiply. Habit 6. Focus on what you can control. This was the foundation of all Stoic discipline. Control what you can. Let go of what you can't. You can't control the economy, the weather, or other people's opinions. But you can control your mindset, your effort, and your attitude. The Stoics called this the dichotomy of control, and mastering it creates instant freedom. Next time you feel stress, ask, is this within my control? If it is, take action. If it isn't, release it. Energy wasted on the uncontrollable is energy stolen from your growth. Mental warriors don't complain. They redirect. They refocus. They move. Habit 7. Prepare for adversity. Daily, the Stoics practiced a concept called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Each morning, they imagined what could go wrong: delays, criticism, loss, failure. Not to become negative, but to build emotional resilience before reality hit. They understood that adversity is guaranteed, but suffering is optional. By visualizing hardship before it arrives, you train your mind to respond, not collapse. So ask yourself each day, what challenges might I face today, and how will I rise to meet them? Preparedness is power. Mental strength is not the absence of stress. It's the training to face it. Habit 8. Reflect and reinforce daily. Before ending the day, the Stoics would ask themselves, what did I do well? What did I fail to do? What can I improve tomorrow? This wasn't about judgment. It was about reinforcement. Reflection creates clarity, and clarity breeds progress. Without reflection, you repeat. With reflection, you evolve. Discipline isn't just built through action. It's built through awareness. Write it down. Say it out loud. But end each day knowing exactly how to sharpen tomorrow. Your habits don't transform you overnight, but they do transform you inevitably if you reinforce them with intention. Let's be clear, discipline is not motivation. Motivation is a feeling. It comes and goes with mood, weather, or convenience. Discipline is a system. It shows up whether you feel like it or not. Mental warriors don't wait to feel ready. They act and let readiness follow. You don't train because you're inspired. You train because you're committed. And each time you show up without motivation, you reinforce identity. You prove to yourself, I don't need to feel it. I just need to do it. That's real power. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation of all confidence. Most people don't lack belief. They lack evidence. They've broken so many promises to themselves, they no longer believe their own words. But when you train daily, when you do what you said you'd do, even in small ways, you send a powerful message to your brain. I can count on me. That's what discipline really gives you. Not perfection, but reliability. And that reliability becomes unstoppable self-confidence. Mental discipline isn't something you master once. It's a daily practice. Like physical strength, it fades without use. It requires maintenance, intention, and repetition. That's why we call this the mental gym. Because your thoughts, your focus, your inner voice, they all need training. Not once, not when you feel like it, but every single day. Every hard choice you make, every distraction you resist, every promise you keep, it's all part of your mental workout. Train your mind like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Stoicism isn't about being emotionless. It's about being unshaken. The Stoics didn't suppress their feelings. They studied them. They didn't run from hardship. They walked into it with clarity and control. That's what made them powerful. That's what gave them peace. And that's what you're building now. A kind of inner power that doesn't depend on your circumstances, your mood, or anyone else's approval. When you live by Stoic principles, you become grounded, unbreakable, respected, not for what you say, but for what you embody. Here's the paradox most people miss. Discipline is what creates freedom. Without discipline, you're a slave to your impulses. You eat what feels good, scroll endlessly, avoid effort, and call it freedom, but that's not freedom. That's slavery to emotion. Real freedom comes when your actions serve your goals, not your cravings. When you can say no to distraction, yes to structure, and I will to the things others avoid. Discipline gives you the freedom to create, to lead, to choose your future instead of reacting to it. And that's the freedom of a trained mind. Whether people admit it or not, the world respects discipline. It's why we admire elite athletes, soldiers, creators, and leaders. Not because they're perfect, but because they show up. They push when it's hard. They move forward when others freeze. They keep their word when no one is watching. Discipline radiates. It commands presence. And it inspires others. When you train your mind daily, when you hold yourself to a higher standard, you don't need to seek respect. It finds you. And that's not ego. That's alignment with your potential. Discipline isn't punishment. It's self-respect in action. Every time you choose structure over chaos, growth over comfort, commitment over excuse, you send a message to yourself. I matter. My future matters. And that's powerful, because the way you treat your goals reflects the way you see yourself. Undisciplined minds chase short-term pleasure. Disciplined minds protect long-term purpose. When you train your mind, you're not just building success, you're honoring your worth. That's why discipline isn't something you have to do. It's something you get to do. It's a gift to yourself. Why do most people fail at discipline? It's not because they're weak. It's because they expect it to be easy. They wait to feel ready. They give up after the first slip. They expect results without resistance. But true discipline embraces resistance. It expects the setbacks, and it keeps going anyway. Most people never build discipline because they never stay long enough to feel its power. But you're choosing to be different. You're choosing to lean in when others lean out. You're choosing to build what can't be seen until it's undeniable. And that's what separates the driven from the drifting. Let's talk about the cost of untrained thinking. It's not just about missed goals. It's about a life controlled by emotion, impulse, and fear. It's procrastination disguised as rest. It's insecurity masked as humility. It's talent wasted because no system held it up. The cost of an undisciplined mind is a lifetime of regret. You may not see it now, but every excuse compounds. Every "I'll do it tomorrow" stacks. And one day, you wake up wondering, what could I have become if I had trained my mind? Discipline protects you from that question. It creates a life you're proud of, not just a life you tolerated. Here's the final truth. Training never stops. There's no finish line. No point where you're done, because life doesn't get easier. You just get stronger. Each challenge is another rep dot. Each failure is a lesson. Each day is another set in the gym of your mind. The moment you think you've arrived, you stop growing. But if you stay humble, stay consistent, and stay focused, there's no limit to who you can become. You're not just building habits. You're building a mindset, one that's rare, one that's powerful, one that can't be broken. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your training. And that's why we're here. This is the mental gym, where your mindset is trained like a muscle, with intention, with pressure, with purpose. So if today's episode lit something in you, don't just listen, apply. Start with one habit, one change, one promise, and repeat it until it becomes who you are. Discipline is not reserved for the chosen. It's earned by the consistent. Train your mind like a warrior, and the world will feel your presence before you even speak. Subscribe to the Mental Gym and join the movement, because this is just the beginning.